Many people, including me, wonder what we can do to personally stop the daunting wave of authoritarian fascism from Donald Trump and his administration. Personally, I have felt very depressed since the November 5th, 2024 election. Now, in 2025, I have been very busy with lobbying my state legislators, writing to them, attending town halls, and lobbying my member of Congress and writing my member of Congress to still take action to try to pass climate change bills. I have also tried to speak out on social media, speak out with friends, organize with different groups. For the past 13 years, I have lived by the quote from folk singer Joan Baez of action is the antidote to despair. But still, I have felt depressed this year and not wanting to do much. However, recently I saw a video on YouTube from Robert Reich. And if you don't know who that is, he was the Secretary of Labor under President Bill Clinton. And since then, he's been a professor at the University of California, Berkeley, and also an author. And he recently posted a video on YouTube called 5 Steps You Can Do to Stop Trump's Fascism. And that video really sparked me to do something. So I decided to create my own list, my top 5 tips to restore our democracy. Now, I realize that this is not the be-all, end-all list. It's just my ideas that I came up with. You're more welcome to share your ideas with me. Or maybe you've got a different way of plan of action to save our democracy. The main thing is to take action. But if you're kind of stuck at what should I do, maybe this might help you. Maybe this might inspire you. So let's start with my 5 tips to try to restore our democracy. Number 1, check on your family, friends, and neighbors. All you have to do is knock on their door, give them a phone call, text them. Try to do what you can to connect with them to see how they're doing. In 2024, I spent a good portion of that year knocking on doors in the East Portland area, in the suburbs, in the eastern part of Portland, trying to get people to vote for Democratic legislative candidates, for local candidates in that election. Now, on the local level, the Democratic candidates won, but I still felt like I'm a failure because Donald Trump won and the Republicans took over Congress, and we've been sliding towards an authoritarian state ever since then. So I feel down. I feel useless there. So please check on folks like myself. I try to, on a regular basis, call my family, email friends, connect with people. But it's also good to check on folks like us who are trying every single day to make a difference here. And I love the quote. It's attributed to Dale Carnegie, but we don't know who originally said it, that said that basically, you may forget the kind words you say today, but the recipient will remember them for a lifetime. So as you're checking on friends and family, make sure, number 2, to remember self-care. To care for yourself. Now, all of us have flown on a commercial airplane and heard that safety speech, that part of the speech where they say, if oxygen on the plane gets low, mask may fall from the ceiling, and please make sure you secure your own mask first before helping someone else, especially a child, secure their mask. That safety message is a good reminder for all of us for self-care, to take care of ourselves first. However, in this time and age, it's so easy to get down, especially when we're living in times of what Steve Bannon called flood the zone with shit. There's a deliberate attempt to make you feel down and useless and not want to take action. However, 8 years ago, I came up with this meme that I posted on social media, and I've been posting it several times since then. Remember that your political adversaries want you to feel demoralized, cynical, and hopeless about taking action. Never give them that satisfaction. So what can you do to bring yourself back to hope? Number 1, I would recommend going for a daily walk. Get yourself outside. walk around your neighborhood, just walk around your area, just to clear your mind. And one of the things I do is I leave my phone at home. That way I'm not distracted. I don't nobody can bother me. I can just enjoy the outside. And my wife and I try to walk together each day. And on our weekends, we take hikes in nature. And when I take hikes in nature, I put my phone on airplane mode. That's partially to save the battery on my phone because I take a lot of photos in nature. But also, I put my phone on airplane mode. Again, I just want to enjoy that time with my wife and time in nature so I'm not distracted by the news and negative information. I would also suggest to get your joy back is listen to some joyful music. Remember those songs you enjoyed as a kid or as a teenager or young adult or maybe even recently? Play some fun, joyful music that'll bring your spirits back up. I also recommend going to see a movie or watching a movie at home or watching a TV series, something that'll get your mind off the news. And also get together with friends and family. Just have fun with friends and family. Enjoy a nice dinner together. Enjoy some board games, card games. Now, if the subject of politics comes up, acknowledge what's happening in the world, have a conversation about it, but try to steer the conversation back towards what brings you hope these days. And that kind of leads to my next one. When you're with friends and family, speak out. Let friends and family know what you're thinking about our democracy, about what's happening in the world. Here, 35 years ago, a friend gave me a gift. It was a keychain, and the keychain said, "Everyone has a right to my opinion." I guess she thought I was overly outspoken, but I thought it was hilarious. And I lost track of that keychain about 10 years ago. Maybe it's in the house here somewhere. I can't find it, but it still makes me laugh whenever I think about it. Everyone has a right to my opinion. Dictators, autocrats, tyrants, and strongmen do not want you speaking out and taking action. So you've got to defy them. Speak out. And when you speak out, it gives others the courage to speak out also. That leads to my next point, number 4. When you're speaking out, make sure you're not just speaking out, but also listening to others. And that probably sounds counterintuitive compared to step 3, kind of opposite of just what I told you. But in order for people to hear what you're saying, you also have to listen to them. And so I would encourage you to learn these expressions when you're in a conversation with someone, such as, "Tell me more about what you're thinking." You can also say something like, "I'm curious. What led you to think this way?" Also, you could say something like, let me make sure I heard you correctly. What I heard you say was," and my wife is really quiet. Maybe you've got some friends and family that's on the quiet side. So ask them, "What are you thinking about right now?" And then truly just listen to hear what they have to say. One of my favorite quotes is, "People will never care how much you know until they know how much you care." And that leads to my final point, is make sure to thank people who are organizing for our democracy. I love this quote that's attributed to 12th century priest and mystic Meister Eckhart. We don't know if he said this for sure, but it's attributed to him. He said, the quote is, "If the only prayer you said was thank you, it will have been enough." Now, last year I was canvassing. I knocked on almost 4,000 doors. It is very hard work. I was outside, so I had to deal with heat waves in the summer and even into September. I had to deal with smoke and poor air quality on some days. In October, I had to deal with pouring rain, aggressive dogs. I actually slipped on someone's slick porch. I also tripped on a couple porches too because I underestimated the number of steps there were. So it's hard work, and I had so many people slamming their doors in my face, which is very demoralizing. And every time somebody slammed their door in my face, it felt like I lost a little piece of my heart or soul. So something you can do is just be kind. If you've heard of the Pacific Crest Trail, it runs from the California-Mexico border. It's a hiking trail that goes, and also pack trail, horses and llamas can go out. This trail goes from the Canadian, or the Mexico-California border all the way up to Washington State Canadian border. It's like 3,000 miles long, and some people just do some day hikes, but other people try to hike portions of it or the whole thing. And if you're doing that backpacking, it's very hard. And so there's what's called trail angels. This is a term that the Pacific Crest backpackers use. And those are people that help out with food, with water, with rides, with a place to stay. There's all kinds of things that these trail angels do to make that experience that much more amazing to hike on the Pacific Crest Trail. Well, I encourage you to be an angel also to people that are politically organizing, people who are knocking on doors and trying to gather petitions. At the very least, you can say thank you. And a lot of people do that. But there's more things you can do if you have the time. And I realize a lot of times you don't have time when somebody's at your door or when you're walking down the street and you meet somebody with a petition in hand. But if you have time, you can always offer water. Sometimes I would run out of water when I was canvassing or when I was talking too much like right now. On a hot day, you can offer ice in their drink. My water would get kind of lukewarm, and so when somebody would offer me ice and I could have ice in my drink, oh, that was such a godsend. Last October, I was hiking on a day it was particularly cold and it was pouring down rain. Somebody actually offered me at their door a cup of coffee. Now, I'm not a coffee drinker, but I could not refuse that. It was such a kind gesture that they did for me. Now, if you really feel safe, and just something to think about, if you develop a good rapport with a canvasser, if you have a good conversation with them, and you feel like you can trust them, offer your bathroom. That was, for me, one of the hardest parts of canvassing. Is behind every single door of every house and apartment was a bathroom, but I couldn't use them because the people didn't know me. And so if you know somebody that's canvassing and they knock on your door, say, hey, do you need a bathroom? That would be such a godsend if you can do that. Such a gift that you can give. And also, if you have a friendly dog and cat, maybe you can offer to ask the canvasser if they'd like to meet your friendly dog or cat. Now, I would meet a lot of aggressive dogs, but believe it or not, I met a lot of friendly cats when I was canvassing too. And in the fall of 2022, when I was knocking on someone's door, this gal answered the door holding a kitten. And I told the gal how beautiful and cute that kitten is, and she asked me, would you like to hold the kitten? And so I did. I don't know if you can see this picture, but I held the kitten. It was so cute. Now, recently I was telling my wife that story, and she says, yes, but when you were holding the kitten, it looks like you were trying to strangle it. And I laughed, and I said, no, I wasn't trying to strangle the kitten. I just didn't know how to hold the kitten. I'm not used to holding kittens. But the main thing is, just be friendly and kind when you see somebody politically organizing. You'll never know how much that means to them. So again, to go over my list again, my top 5 tips to restore our democracy. Number 1, check on your family, friends, and neighbors. Number 2, remember self-care. Number 3, speak out. Number 4, listen to others. And number 5, talk to people who are thank people who are organizing. And again, this is not a definitive list. You are more than welcome to come up with your own list and follow it. Or you can use the tips on my list. But if you come up with your own list, go ahead and share it with me or your ideas. But the main thing is to take action. Thank you so much for watching this video here today. And best of luck to you as we're going to do our best to restore our democracy.